Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm Chance Ellison. Welcome back to Left Side, Strong Side. Joining me, my co-host Mike Deacon. Jacob London is not here today. And as you can see, I am in a brand new location for the time being. But I'm not going to. There's not going to stop us from bringing you all the football action from the final week of the NFL season. Now, before we get into that, we do talk about one other game real quick. That is the national championship between Washington and Michigan. Mike, you only saw the first half of this game, right?
Yeah. I had a commitment that was unfortunately scheduled at the basically at halftime, so I only did get to watch one half. What I'll say with this game, I was astounded at the run lanes that Michigan was getting in that first quarter.
Oh my God. I did not count on Washington's defense being truly useless against the run.
There was the second touchdown. I looked at Bethany and I'm like, did he have a 5-yard hole to run through? Like, it was absurd. How, like, I don't know if that's a credit to Michigan's offensive line, if that's how bad, a combination of both. But like, I'm like, I could have ran through that. Like,
yeah, again, but Washington just could do nothing against the run. That's literally all Michigan did. Like, Michigan had 179 rushing yards in the first quarter.
It was insane.
And even like even Penix could not, as good as he is, could not save this team. He had maybe the worst performance he's had all year. Like, he was missing throws. Receivers were dropping passes that were like hit him right in the hand. Some were bad ball by Penix, but others hit him right in the hand. It's like, bro, you gotta catch those.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I saw, again, only watching the first half and then seeing highlights of the second half, though, they kept it close for a little while, but this was Michigan's game for about 2/3 of the game.
No, yeah, like, again, Washington had chances to come back and win, but they just could not capitalize. And look, Jim Harbaugh is still a filthy fucking cheater, but congratulations to the players, congratulations to any Michigan fans, congratulations to the school, and I guess official, Biggie has now killed Pac. It's now official. R.I.P. Pac-12. This is how we go out.
Yeah. So the big question, I think now, obviously a lot of focus for a lot of NFL teams and for college kids is now turning to the draft. Like, did this game really affect Michael Penix's draft stock? Is a good question.
I think it did for the time being. It definitely lowered it because there's going to be a question of is the moment too big for this dude?
Right.
That'll be a question going forward, and also combine that with his age and the fact that he has no knees. That's gonna undeniably hurt his draft stock. Dude has a great arm. I don't know how mobile he still is. His combine is gonna be very important for that. I will say this hurt JJ McCarthy's draft stock more than you might think.
Yeah. He's, I don't think he was going any earlier than round 2, but he might fall further than that. After
this, yes, because if they won with you doing this little, yeah, no, you're not. You ain't going in top 3 rounds at all.
The one guy from Washington, Rome Odunze, I think he's solidified himself. I think he's going in the top 10 now.
Oh, Odunze is 100% gonna be a first rounder. He's gonna be the second or third receiver taken.
He's the third receiver because it'll be MHJ, Neighbors, then him most likely. But
depending on combine, given this offseason, I wouldn't be surprised if Odunze jumped Neighbors at some point.
He looks solid. I
like Odunze. I really like Odunze.
I like Odunze a lot too. I think he's got a lot of intangibles he's a tough kid. He's got a good size. He's fast. He's checking off quite a bunch of the check boxes. I think he's gonna go high.
That's really good wide receiver draft class in the past couple of years. Again, last year was okay, but 2021 was really good.
Yeah.
2020 was good minus the murderer.
Right. And so the 2021 year to 2022 was pretty solid. Where you had Olave, you had Wilson.
Yeah. 21 was great. You had Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. Those are 3 really great receivers. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, same class.
Way down the line, but yes.
Way down the line. And he will never forget it. He will never forget how far he went.
But pretty much all I have to say with that particular game. We're going to move on to some of the...
we are starting with the truly useless games that occurred this past weekend. So what are we starting off with? Yes, the Bengals versus the Browns. The Bengals, who are already dead, versus the Browns, who've already basically been locked at the 5 spots, so they had no reason to play anybody. This is the kind of game we expected from. I mean, the Bengals are playing with a chip on their shoulder, like, okay, like, goddamn it, we are not going out with a loss.
Right, exactly. The Bengals season was very up and down, and for them, they fall into a very bizarre circumstance. We talked about this. They got the exact worst draft spot because they got the worst possible draft pick without making the playoffs.
Yeah.
With a winning one of 3 teams in the AFC that had a winning record and did not make the playoffs.
And I will say, this win with the Bengals, this does mark the first time since 1935 in which an entire division has finished above 500.
Which is insane. And
like I said at the beginning of the year, AFC North, best division in football.
Yeah.
Bar none.
This one was the one division, like every other division had some team sticking out like a sore thumb. That's like, okay, this is the team that prevents it from being it. And I think at the beginning of the season, we all had different ideas of who was going to be the worst one in this division. And when push came to shove, they all played NFC North football. You had even the Bengals this year played really hard defense, which is not something that they've been known for.
That's when Joe Burrow went down. They played really hard when Joe Burrow went down.
And if Joe Burrow had, the thing is, I think if it's weird to say this, but if Joe Burrow didn't play, I think they could have mustered another game with the way Browning played.
It's possible. It's very possible. I would have been. I feel like Taylor is now kicking himself for playing Joe Burrow too early, and that could be a catalyst for why he gets fired later down the line. I don't know. I can see the wheels for Zach Taylor starting to fall off right now.
But on the Browning front, he did a very good job of solidifying himself a firm backup quarterback job next year. Like, he'll probably get
against any other team in Pittsburgh. Yes.
Yeah. But the thing, he's on a contract here, so he's going to get himself a nice little contract, I think. And there's several teams, my team included. Like, if that's who the Jets chooses their backup quarterback, I'd be very happy with that because he's shown that he's more than competent at it.
I mean, look, again, this season is like, we had the big offseason for quarterbacks. We had the big offseason for wide receivers. This is going to be a big offseason for backup quarterbacks. So we're going to see that market get set. Like, what's going to be the baseline for how much you pay a backup quarterback?
That's very true. But again, the Browns is really not much to say because they didn't play anybody. So, really, what is there to say? So we're going to move on to a game again.
This game almost had implications. Something different happened later.
Right.
But look, this was a game where I think Jacob said it last week. They're playing for Antonio Pierce's job.
Yep. The Raiders played well. I mean, both these teams came out and played the bulk of their actual teams. They did have certain play. Obviously, Russell Wilson didn't play, but both teams played their current starting lineups, and the Raiders they outplayed them. I mean, it wasn't an exciting game. It was kind of what you'd expect out of a Week 18 game with two teams that knew they were eliminated going in.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Raiders played hard because they're playing for their coach. I don't believe the Broncos are playing for their coach.
No.
As of this point. I don't fully believe that Sean Payton – look, if Russell Wilson didn't win over the locker room, Sean Payton's really not winning over the locker room.
So now, but both of these teams will be back-to-back in the draft. So that was one thing that did have a little bit of an implication. With the loss, Denver actually went in front of Vegas. So Denver is now picking 12th and Vegas is picking 13th, which is interesting considering these are two teams that are both in that quarterback conversation. Now that with that loss, the Broncos hold the card, which means the Raiders, if they decide to go for a first-round quarterback, are now going to have to make a move.
They are. And again, these are two teams who their needs don't overlap a ton except for quarterback. That's the one place.
And the real interesting thing about this too is, I mean, we'll get to them in a little bit, but the Vikings, who are also in that conversation, are 11. So you have 3 teams in a row who are all going to be staring directly at that direct need. One of them is going to make a trade, I think.
Yeah, so something's going to happen. Like, this offseason, like for trades, especially given what we know the number one pick to be now, or we know the draft order to be now in general, is going to be it's going to be something. Like, we're going to see some crazy shit happen. I'm calling it right now.
This is going to be a fun draft night this year for certain, just because of all of the implications and how many big, skill position players are going to go in the top 10.
Absolutely.
All right. So moving on to another game that has 0 implications.
Oh, yeah. This is Blaine Gabbert versus Easton Stick.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs need to win this for morale's purposes. That's the only reason they need to win this.
I genuinely thought the Chargers had a chance at winning this game going in. I did pick them to win, and the Chiefs they had to pull it off at the very end. The Chargers had the lead in the 4th. But
the Chargers did. And again, the Chargers are also in a very precarious positions because, like, they have the quarterback. What they need now is the coach.
Right.
I think the Chargers are in because, like, they have the players. A lot of them are being overpaid, but they have the players. They need a really great GM.
Yeah.
And they need the coach.
So the Chargers will wind up picking 5th in the draft, which is a great position for them.
Which is fucking insane when you have Justin Herbert as your quarterback.
They literally can go in any direction here. They offensive tackle. You would assume it's defense, but
you would assume so. Like, I could see them taking the best defender on the board.
Yeah.
Well, actually, just period. I don't think a defender goes in the top 4.
They don't, and they are in the prime position to trade down.
They are. On the side of the Chiefs, though, I mean, granted, a lot of the defenders still played. Chris Jones did cash in on a bonus because, once again, his agent did screw him, as we mentioned at the beginning of the year. But yeah, like, the Chiefs have a lot of chinks in the armor that are gonna need to get ironed out before the playoffs, especially when they're playing first round, which we'll talk about later. Because script writers went crazy this week. I'll say the script writers went crazy this week for the playoffs.
So the next game, very surprisingly interesting game here. The Rams 49ers, and I really didn't want to put any of these meaningless games as like game of the week or anything like that. But this one, if I was evaluating everything, would be in the conversation.
This is a meaningful game for Sean McVay. Because Sean McVay consistently owned by San Fran in the regular season. Postseason, different story. We saw that played out. But regular season, Shanahan owns McVay. Like, I feel like McVay just wanted to win this for pride's sake. And this is the meme matchup, another meme matchup. We had Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold reminding us once again why he is not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
But again, when push comes to shove, he's one of the, I'm not going to say the better, but if you have him as your backup, it's not the end of the world.
Again, would I rather have Sam Darnold as my back? Yeah, probably. But don't rely on, like, if Brock Purdy goes down in these playoffs and they got to rely on Sam Darnold to bring it home, this team is dead. This team is dead in the water.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no way that, especially with the way some of the other teams in the NFC are playing momentum-wise, if you're staring at the Cowboys or the Lions and you have to put Darnold in, that's not going to end well.
I remember I saw there's one play where, like, Sam Darnold, he had a forced fumble on him. And I was like, Sam Darnold just did a Sam Darnold thing. It happens. And
again, this game, basically it was like keep all your starters healthy. And
you got to give credit to one particular person. Puka Nacua, with this game, officially set the record for rookie receptions and rookie receiving yards for a wide receiver.
And touchdown.
No, I don't think he had touchdowns.
He tied the touchdown mark.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's tied with Jefferson?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, good for Nacua.
But the interesting thing, though, was the yards record was originally set in a 14-game season. So it's kind of
kind of but well, didn't Justin Jefferson hold it until this?
He held two of them because Puka. You're right. I'm thinking of the other thing. Puka broke he tied the touchdown and he broke the receiving yards record, if I remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure he broke receptions too.
He might have. Yeah, he had a big game. They, intentionally played him hard. He played into the second half until he had it. But Puka Nacua in any other year that did not involve C.J. Stroud leading this Texans team to the playoffs would be the offensive rookie of the year. He's not going to win it because Stroud is there, but what a rookie season.
Oh my God, yeah, like Puka Nacua. Again, like I'm not going to say he's top 10 receiver right now just because I don't believe in putting a ton of stock into 1 year. But if he can keep this up, the dude is going to be talked about like one of those like incredible like late round steals in the NFL draft.
Absolutely, he's going to be in that conversation. So, I'm going to move to the one that
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Nick.
What an interesting game. It was terrible because of the weather. I mean, it was an awful football game for any player not named Breece Hall. But so here's the thing, though, is like Breece Hall had an amazing statistical game, and the Jets messed up. Their statistician on the sideline messed up and pulled him 4 yards short of 1,000 rushing for the season.
Oh,
that was one of the first things Salah said in the post-game press conference. So Hall wound up with 996 for the season for rushing yards. He hit the 1,500-yard receiving and rushing mark. He hit that.
He hit 1,500 scrimmage yards.
The scrimmage yards, he hit the 1,500. They screwed up the
Is that whose statistician is that? ESPN's, NFL's, the Jets?
Yeah, it was the Jets one.
So the Jets statistician, not Stunks of the week.
He's in the conversation. He's in the conversation for it. But everything aside from that in this game, it was Simeon against Zappy. Neither of them could do anything. I mean, that was a genuine snow game. Like that's the weather in that. I was impressed at any field goal being kicked, and the fact that there was 3 field goals kicked in this game.
There were.
There was 2, one on each side.
Two?
Yeah, it was just 2. But still, like the fact that you're getting these field goals is in those conditions, and Zuerlein hit one from I think 45, which again, 45 is usually not impressive, but in that
weather, that's actually incredible.
Yeah. But the biggest thing, the Jets losing streak ends. 16 games. The streak is over and potentially sends Belichick out of his job that he's had for 24 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Now that becomes the question. Like again, as of recording this, as of streaming right now, Bill Belichick still has the job. He is still the head coach and GM of the New England Patriots. Now, and again, the consensus thought, the consensus belief seems to be that he's gone. Yeah. He's not going to be on this team next year. Question is, like, when does that shoe drop? Like, are they, like, because I feel like this would have, like, if he was going to be gone, this would happen already, but, like, maybe they're like playing something, like, a little more respectful, thing of being associated with the Black Monday crowd just because of Belichick, like, what he's done for this team.
I think I'm on page with you on that. They were waiting for the Black Monday. They want him to go out if they are going to make that move in style. Where they're going to make it. They're not going to say they're like we've mutually agreed to part ways. They're not going to say he quit. They're not going to say he got fired. That's going to be the mutual.
I would make Bill Belichick Stonks of the week if he does the same thing with the Jets. He retires via napkin.
Yeah. And
or step it up this time. Retire via paper towel.
There was a big move that happened today, which we'll talk about in a minute. There's a coach in the market that I think if he's going to be like, well, if he's my successor, then yes, I'll leave. And I who I'm talking about.
No, yeah, we do. And we'll definitely get there in a few minutes. But yeah, what was the next game?
So we're gonna move on. I'm debating which one of these two to do first. I guess we'll go with this one because it did this. There was implications.
Well, no, there were heavy implications. The winner of this game was going to be the champion
No.
of.
So this one, if the Bucks won, they won the division.
I'm sorry. Yeah, if the Bucks won, like
So
the Panthers are eliminated because
So
the
these
Panthers.
two go like together in that regard. So I want to start with the Bucks because there's a lot more to talk about in the other game.
Yeah, we'll talk about this right now. But yeah, but shocked me is like the Bucks knew how vital this game was, and they still looked this awful against the worst team in football.
Exactly.
They couldn't muster a touchdown against this team, just 3 field goals.
And this team that, they Baker had his rib injury coming into it, and they, obviously they had to play him. And then he injured his ankle right before half. It was in the first half, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I was questioning. I'm like, this is the Panthers you're playing, and you have the lead, and that their offense has been so inept. Do you throw Trask in? They never did it, but that I think that should have come across their mind. Like, you put Trask in and just run the ball.
Put Trask in and just see what happens.
Yeah. Because the Carolina's a mess. There's not much, really not too many things you can really.
This is a team that needs so much this offseason.
They have a kicker, and he missed the game. Pinero was hurt, so he actually missed the game, and they did miss a field goal. So
but they have the kicker sometimes. Like sometimes they have the kicker, sometimes they don't have a kicker.
Thielen was one of the few bright spots they had this year, but Thielen's obviously, I think he signed a 2-year deal, so he's
3.
He's 3. Okay, so they do have him for another year or two. But that's somebody who they might dangle as they need to get draft capital back, and if you can trade an aging veteran like Thielen, he can still probably net a 3rd or 4th round pick.
I mean, I don't think you could still get a first for Brian Burns.
Yeah, well, Burns too, but Burns is still he's too big of a cog, I think. Like Thielen, they can get away without, but Burns is if you take him out of that defense, wow, what a difference that's going to be.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like Carolina, they need so much. But congratulations, Bucks! You ever so slightly slid into first place in the NFC South. Congratulations.
Because of this game, there's a lot to dissect on this one. I'm going to just say it just because this has to go down as game of the week because of the notoriety and all the chaos that happened at the end of the game. It was like the perfect storm. Like,
it did.
All of the key players are players that you're like, that sounds right. That sounds right. That sounds like everybody did what you expected them to do.
Yes. Bijan not running the ball for shit. Yeah, checks out. The Saints waking up when it's far too late. Yep, checks. Arthur Smith completely mismanaging a game. Where have I seen this before except for, everywhere?
Yeah.
This game was both peak Saints and peak Falcons at the same time. Whereas Falcons trying to run their game plan through Jonnu Smith or somebody else other than the playmakers that you spent very good first round capital on, versus the Saints who can never seem to consistently turn on. And when they do turn on, it's seemingly too late. Guess what happened? It's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, exactly. And we didn't mention the previous game, but like in terms of the draft order, we saw that the Patriots firmed at 3. The Jets moved to 10. Now the Falcons are going to be 8th, and the Saints. Hold on, I have it pulled up. The Saints are 14th.
Oh, we do need to talk about what happened at the end of the game.
The end of the game, yes. So we have somebody else here to assist with that.
Ah, damn it. I thought we had the week off. Hey, Jacob.
Hello. I did have.
Oh, we lost you already.
We already lost him. Show's already off the rails.
So the end of this game, though, the fact that it was so Jamal Williams leads the league in touchdowns last year, does not have a single touchdown all season. So the team goes to the sideline and asks the coach, can we run this play and let Jamal score? And the coaching staff says, absolutely not. And it's Jameis Winston, of all people, goes rogue and hands off the ball in victory formation, leading to one of the funniest tirades I've ever heard from a head coach after the game.
Oh my God. Arthur, not even on the field, seeing Arthur Smith after that game where he was so incredibly pissed off. And it's like, man, Arthur, if you showed that kind of passion right now that you showed making your offensive game plan, you probably wouldn't be in this position. You probably wouldn't be in this position right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, Mike, I'm not trying to persuade you, but is there any chance Jameis Winston gets on the heroes bracket next year?
We do one now called the chaotic neutral. I think he fits into that very well because you don't know what the hell's going to happen with him. That's a great suggestion. Yeah, Jameis Winston would 100%.
I don't know, like Jameis Winston to me, like I know, like Jacob, he's like your eternal frustration on the field, but he's like, I love watching Jameis just because like you never know what exactly is going to happen. Jacob, you there?
So my biggest like genuine takeaway from it all was kind of like the people complaining about it, like the people going, oh, well, Arthur Smith, like, oh, you shouldn't be able to do that. Grow up. It's the final game of the season. It was to get someone a touchdown who hadn't had one all year. It was like, if it was a playoff game next week, or if it was or if there was even just a game next week, I would kind of understand. Like if one team was and the other one wasn't, I would understand why. It's a nothing game. Who cares at this point? Grow up, Arthur Smith. You were just taking your frustration out because you were angry because you lost. You were going to lose your job, and you did at fucking.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But the interesting thing about that isn't the coach that lost their job. It's the coach that didn't lose their job. That's Dennis Allen.
Yet, at least. Yes. At least yet. We don't know.
I feel like if Allen was going to be fired, he would have been fired already.
True, but we'll see what happens later in the week. I think I am a little shocked that he hasn't lost his job. I am shocked. I think there is the Saints, and I don't know if you guys have talked about the Titans yet, but we can get when we get to the Titans. I think they're very similar, and I think what happened with the Titans is they made an acknowledgement that the Saints aren't willing to yet, and I think that it's an acknowledgement that the Saints need to make, and they haven't yet, and I don't know when they're going to.
We'll get into all that later. Again, we have a whole segment on Black Monday that we'll get to later on in the show. But Mike, what's our next game?
Lost him again.
God damn it. Okay. Well then, I will now perform Joe Coy's monologue from the Golden Globes.
Oh man, that was Jesus Christ.
I didn't watch it. Like, was it really that bad?
I was okay. To be fair, I was watching the Bills game, so I didn't watch it live either. But afterwards, I went and tried to find it because of obviously like it was. I was like, oh, I need to find this before it's scrubbed from the internet, and I watched all 10 minutes of it, and it is honestly some of the roughest material. Like the joke, it's not even that they're like, the stupid thing is the jokes aren't horrifically bad. They're just they're bad jokes, awfully delivered, like really. And he knew he was bombing, and instead of just kind of going, oh, I've bombed, get off the stage and go to the next one. And like gets mad at the audience because he's bombing. And that's the like, dude, you can't do that. So yeah, it was bad. It was not good at all.
Oh, well. Okay, Mike says some technical difficulties, which sucks because he is running the show right now. But we will keep. The show must go on.
All right.
So-
What's our next? What game haven't you talked about yet? Because
we've talked about the meaningless games. We've got to start getting to meaningful games.
Okay.
So you know what? Let's talk about the deciding games in the NFC East. Let's start with the Cowboys versus the Commies. Now, look, we all knew this game was going to take a miracle and Philly was hoping for it, but Philly, we'll get to it in a second. Philly was hoping for a miracle. But the script writer said, like, you know what? We've had too many reruns, which we'll get to later. We've had too many reruns. We can't do this. So, the Cowboys went and just asserted their fucking dominance on Washington.
Well, and it wasn't just the Eagles who wanted it; it was the Lions. They were the other team that really needed the Cowboys to lose. But yeah, no, for about a quarter, this was a game.
It was
like, ooh, this is somewhat close for about a game, for about a quarter, and then suddenly, yeah, I think the Commanders went, oh shit, hang on. We're gonna miss out on the number 2 seed. Yeah, we're done. They gave up, and Cowboys just went, all right, we're asserting our dominance, and they came in and they were genuinely incredible.
They played their starters a lot more than I thought they would in this game.
Yeah, this felt like they did, but I also think there was that they were petrified Philly could come back. I think there was if Philly were playing a real team, I think they would have pulled the starters a lot earlier than they did. But because they were like Philly could come back, and then Philly just started getting injured, and they went, all right, well, fuck it.
Yeah, we'll talk about Philly in just 1 second, but
yeah,
So Cowboys now locked in at 2. They will be until they play San Fran. Unless someone knocks San Fran off, which would be bizarre. They will be playing their entire series at home, minus San Fran.
Yeah.
But let's talk about. It's all good.
Yeah. So they'll be playing 2 games. At minimum, they'll get 2 games at home, unless they get knocked out week 1. But they'll
which
get 2 games.
Which is good for them because the Cowboys this year have been historically bad on the road.
Yeah. So it will be very interesting what happens with the Cowboys. They're right now in borderline must-win territory. Like they're in. Yeah, this is. We'll see.
Everyone's in must-win territory right now, Jacob. That's a playoffs win.
No, I didn't mean it that. I was more meaning for the future of a lot of their players, but we'll get to that.
No. Let's talk about the other deciding NFC East game, the Giants versus the Eagles. Look, last year when the Eagles went 13-0, I thought, you know what, you're kind of like you're the better version of the 2020 Steelers. Where like you're not frauds, you are legit, even though you stumble a couple times, you still are a legit team. This year they became the 2020 Steelers.
You want to know
who? Team where things are going great, but then the final stretch, the wheels just completely fall the fuck off.
Oh yeah. You want to know who else they remind me of? Not just the Steelers, but not in a no. Well, they remind me of the Suns.
Yeah, no, something in comparison to the NBA.
Where they had this miracle run, and you were like, wow, they ran it back with everyone, and now they're going to lose everyone at the end of this season. Like, there's a lot of players who they're going to lose at the end of this season just because of contracts, because of retirements, because of a lot of things, and who knows what they're going to be like going forward. So this is a real tough stretch for the Eagles right now. And yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, they got to figure it out. And they got to figure it out quickly because look, and it's not due to bad play. I mean, the defense, that's one thing. Also, shout out Tommy DeVito making one last appearance.
One last show. Yeah,
one last ride for Tommy DeVito. But it's the injuries. Like literally, three of their best offensive players got injured in this game.
Oh yeah,
Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, all down.
All out.
Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna that game really killed them for injuries, but I'm not going to use the injuries as an excuse for the last 3 weeks.
Right.
This defense has been horrific.
Yes.
Like historically bad since 10-1. It's not been good at all. And that is a legitimate factor going in to next season that needs to be addressed and needs to be accounted for. And the other thing is, like, even before this weekend, the offense has not looked good over the last 4 weeks. Like, whatever it is.
It has not looked this. It has not looked this. I'm not giving this thumbs up.
Like, it's...
No. False news.
It's really, really concerning. I'm really curious what is going to happen. I'm really curious what is going to happen with Jalen Hurts going forward. Yeah. Is he Carson Wentz 2.0 or is this a down year? It's one or the other.
I don't think he's Carson Wentz purely because I don't think he's gonna be Carson Wentz 2.0 just because like we never saw Carson Wentz grow like this.
Yep.
The way Jalen Hurts did. And also Carson Wentz we talk about a lot. Not a leader. Jalen Hurts is.
No, and that is true. That is true. However, I don't know if the coach is a leader at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Sirianni might enter the season on one of the biggest hot seats we've had in a while.
Depending on how they do next year, I could see them moving up in Sirianni, especially considering how fast they moved away from Doug Peterson.
Yeah, like, and not only that, they've always done it. They did the same thing with Andy Reid. Like, that's just who the Eagles are. They move. You could be historically great and then have one bad season, and if you follow it up with another bad season, you're done.
Yeah, this game moved them into the 5 seed, so they will not have a home game. They will be traveling to Tampa, which is now the Monday night game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. On the other end, though, the Giants actually moved down. The Chargers leapfrogged them. The Chargers go to 5. The Giants move to 6, which could be interesting. All things considered, we're going to talk more about the draft, obviously in the offseason, but that one spot moving, the Chargers are now going to be in the, hey, who wants to leapfrog the Giants and get the player they want, So
yeah, I mean, what we'll talk about the draft, but the Chargers are you're either going to trade up 2 spots to try and go grab your wide receiver, or you're getting the fuck out of the top 10.
Yeah,
it's all going to depend on who the coach is.
And I know my internet went out when it happened. The Commanders solidified the number 2 pick.
Number 2 spot. So congratulations. I'm so sorry, Drake May.
Yeah.
Look, okay, you say that. New owner, new coach, new GM, same GM. But GM. Like, I don't know. The Commanders start to feel like if they get this coaching hire correct, they could become a really scary team again. Like, and the NFL is going to want to help them because they want they want the Cowboys they want the Commanders to be strong. And if the Eagles are falling off, they need someone in that division to stand up.
Yeah, and it also does mark again. Once again, the NFC East has a different champion again after another year. So. This seesaw keeps going. So we'll see. We'll see if someone repeats or if someone else steps in next year. Probably that one. But,
it'll probably. I can't see Cowboys repeating next year, unless the Eagles really do shit the bed next year. Like that's going to be the big thing.
Mike, what you got? What's next?
All right. So going back to a game that really had very minimal implications, but for some reason. The Lions decided to play all of their starters and paid for it.
Yeah, taking the page from the Brandon Staley book of coaching, playing all of your starters when you really didn't have to. Look, you want to get them in for like a couple drives at the beginning of the game, that's fine. Do that. Don't play them for this long because it's going to bite you in the ass. And guess what happened? It came back to bite him in the ass. Laporta got hurt.
So I love Dan Campbell.
So do I.
But it's very telling that he hasn't been criticized for this by anyone. No one's really talked about it. Yet it was front page fucking news last year when Brandon Staley did the exact same thing.
Right.
And like so that is a thing. Like,
it's okay. Well, it's a bit of difference because the Lions technically had something to play for because they could have moved up a spots.
If
Whereas
the Cowboys and
Chargers
Eagles
were
both
locked.
lost, yeah,
If
Cowboys
the
and
Chargers
Eagles
were
both lose.
locked at 5, no matter what they did, so there was really no point in playing your starters 55 minutes.
Yeah, but it's still just one of those. You did not like playing them for this long. It's just kind of going to the whole Dan Campbell. He's starting to make emotional errors. He's gotten away with honestly, him and Brandon Staley's first season are very, very similar, where Staley would just go for it and everything, and then he was eventually bullied into stop doing it. Dan Campbell, at some point, this is going to blow up in his face. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's going to blow up in his face. It might be this weekend, but it's just one of those. There is a reason not every coach does this. There is a reason analytics tell you not to do this. You need to start playing with hey, have a bit of a cooler head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In and about this.
As mentioned earlier, this game solidified the Vikings into the number 11 pick. And that's where I think the draft is going to be a whole lot of fun with those three. With them, the Broncos, and the Raiders all picking back to back to back, all with similar needs. We're going to see some trades.
Yeah.
The Vikings are fascinating to me. I'm very curious to what it is that they end up doing.
I think next to the Bears, they're in the conversation for most interesting way their franchise can change in the offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, Panthers in the conversations for how the franchise can possibly get worse.
Yeah. So we have one game we kind of overlooked in terms of, it wasn't meaningless until another result happened, but the Seahawks-Cardinals game, wound up having very little. The Seahawks had an outside chance of still making the playoffs. Had Chicago won, but obviously, spoiler alert, Chicago did not win. But this game wound up basically being a surprisingly hard-fought game. These two teams went at each other.
Yeah.
The NFC West, these divisional games are always tough, usually. Actually, mostly tough. There are a few cases where they're not tough, and we'll get to that later. But divisional games are always tough, especially when it's Seahawks versus Cardinals. They always play each other hard.
But not only that, so Taylor went to this game. She was saying it was a Seahawks game. It was a Seahawks crowd. You felt like it was a Seahawks home crowd, which I think also pisses off the Cardinals players. And this year the Cardinals all season have been playing with a massive chip on their shoulder I think because they were labeled as the tankers at the start of the season, everyone was just like, they're tanking. Every single one of these players went, we are not fucking tanking. We are trying our hardest. And they just don't have the talent. But that's why they've been clearly playing with their heart out and wanting to win and wanting to go forward next season. I think Kyler will be the quarterback for the team next year. I think no matter what.
He's got 245 million reasons why he's going to be quarterback next year.
Yeah, so I think he is going to be their quarterback next year, and I think, we laugh how, oh man, the Cardinals got the worst coordinator after the Eagles, and you look at that Eagles defense this year, it's like, holy shit, he actually made that one look good last year. So. Looking at the way the Cardinals play, look at the way the Eagles defense play. It really give Jonathan Gannon enough credit last season. So, at this point, you're right. This was a nothing game, but ultimately, I think the big disappointment for Seahawks fans is, and the big question mark you now have is, what the hell do we do at quarterback?
Right. So that put them picking 16th.
And that's
you still got Geno under contract. You could cut him after this year if you really wanted to, but you still got him if you want him.
Oh yeah, like I said, Geno isn't the problem. Is this team is built and it's good enough where you could really go on a run. You're just lacking that quarterback play. However, the defense needs a lot of work. Defense still needs work. And for you guys to really, going with Geno, I could see them running back with Geno for another year. This draft, I wouldn't grab a quarterback. The only one, if someone's available for nothing, then maybe. But at this point, run it back with Geno.
At Knicks at 16 probably,
Yeah.
which I don't think you do.
You know,
I mean, 16 is a bit of a reach, but it's not crazy.
the
But with
irony.
he might go before that because there's just so many QB needy teams that
Yeah.
there's going to be some reaches on the quarterback. I don't know how high he reached for Knicks, but it could happen.
What's the next game we got, Mike?
And the Cardinals are going to say, sitting
Oh,
pretty.
yeah. Sitting pretty.
Cardinals are in the best spot right now. They're the only thing that the Cardinals are going to have to do more than likely is trade up one spot. That's probably the only thing they are most likely going to have to do is give up something to go up one spot, because if the Patriots are smart, they trade down. There's no because Cardinals or Chargers, neither of them are grabbing a quarterback.
Right.
So that's you trade down to one of them to go get Harrison. This all changes if the Bears take Harrison. Then if the Bears take Harrison, we are in for one of the craziest freaking drafts we're ever going to see, because then it's suddenly all bets are off and
throw caution to the wind.
Yeah. But going into it, if I'm the Cardinals going into it, I am making it very, very loud and public. We're thinking of trading Kyler. So the Patriots don't trade. Like, they just pick and go, no, we're not risking it.
But yeah, speaking of this game, look, last year we saw a case where the Packers had a situation where they're playing a team who was already eliminated. All they had to do was win a game at Lambeau, and they were in the playoffs. Shit may be fucked, but even the script writers know when shit's gone too far. We can't let the Bears kick the Packers out of the playoffs.
No, I was more thinking we could, last season we were going to embarrass Aaron Rodgers, but we can't do that to Jordan Love.
We got to build Jordan Love at the cost of you, the Bears. But oh my God, I mean, I said the week 1. I'll say it again, week 18. Jordan Love needs to come out and be to the Bears. When next time playing a game at Soldier Field, come out to the Bears fan, be like, "I own you now." Jordan Love now undefeated against the Bears.
I know it is still way too early, and way I'm not gonna say it, but what I am going to say is, how the fuck has Aaron Rodgers turned into Brett Favre? Copy and paste. Just he is now Brett Favre somehow. And Jordan Love is now an emerging Aaron Rodgers. It's a glitch in the Matrix. What are you doing? How is this happening? It's so weird.
I'm not going to say new Aaron Rodgers just yet. I guess he'd love to do it on a consistent basis, but
I absolutely.
He looks good. When he looks good, he looks good.
Yeah, he does. And I'm talking first season Aaron Rodgers to first season Jordan Love. Those two are very, very similar. They look similar right now. It's just, and then I just can't believe.
And then the Bears did the Bears thing and lost to the Packers.
So the Bears lost to the Packers. The Bears now, with their own pick, will be picking 9th, and of course have the golden ticket with the Panthers pick at number 1.
With the Panthers locking in the first overall pick.
That trade is just absurdly one-sided right now.
As of right now, yes. But the question is, it's like Jacksonville 2 years ago. Question is, what the hell are they going to do?
Yeah, and I mean,
nobody knows what the hell it is they're going to do.
Well, hey, Jacksonville 2 years ago, that pick, I think everyone can acknowledge they messed up.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
they absolutely messed up. And then this year, and even take CJ Stroud out of it. No matter, even if CJ Stroud goes on to be a Hall of Famer, take that out of it. Their biggest fear is if Caleb Williams or Drake May or whoever they pick with the number 1 pick goes on to be a Hall of Famer,
right?
That's the thing that's going to kill the Panthers more than anything. Is we traded Bryce Young for a we traded this future Hall of Famer for Bryce Young.
Yep.
Now, if he goes on to be, if Bryce Young goes on to show something to show a lot more than he did this year, cool, whatever. But now,
Bryce, it's not your fault. You barely had anything to work with. I feel bad for anyone to be in your position.
Yeah, Bryce. What really sucks, what you feel so bad for Bryce as well, is if Panthers actually had that pick, Harrison would be amazing for that team. My
Oh,
God,
he would,
Harrison would be
100%.
amazing for that team right now. And you'd sit there and go, wow, it all worked out. Like that worked out perfectly. But man, just Harrison at them not getting Harrison this is just what could have been.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, what's
So
next?
let's rewind to Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. There were some key players on offense that were not playing. Like Lamar Jackson, obviously sat out. Zay Flowers sat out. Mark Andrews hurt. OBJ, he sat out. But that's like really it. Most of their Marlon Humphrey didn't play. A lot of their defenders still played, and the Steelers still had to do stuff.
Melvin Gordon helped you.
Melvin Gordon, yeah, trusting Melvin Gordon to carry the ball in the rain can only go poorly. But I will say this game does contain my not stonks players, plural, of the week. One is Najee Harris, who always shows up versus the Ravens, and with his past couple weeks might have just earned himself a fifth-year option, because I hope he did. Let Najee Harris up his ground. Other stonks player of the week, future defensive player of the year, TJ Watt, solidifying his status as the sack leader of 2023.
I'll give you that.
And we won this game at a price, though. All right,
Yeah.
TJ Watt.
Like, you are so lucky it wasn't an ACL. So lucky it's not an ACL, because
I am. We are lucky.
yeah,
I mean, we're not lucky. We're not lucky either way, because we'll talk about it later. Because look, we won this game, which we needed to do. We also needed help to get into the playoffs. But we did our thing. 10-7. Not bad. Not great. Far under the expectations we had for this season, but not bad.
So the very next game.
Well, actually, before we get to this, I just want to ask. I want to ask Chance, where are you on Mike Tomlin?
I'm cool with him. I'm cool with Mike Tomlin. Like I want Mike Tomlin to be on this team as long as he wants. Like I have no problem with Mike Tomlin. Does he have limitations? Does he have problems? Yes, he does. But at the end of the day, I think he's a great coach. He's a great leader. He's a great motivator. And players will play for Mike Tomlin.
Are you concerned at all about just how mediocre the offense is?
I mean, yes, obviously, yes.
Because the defense, I can't remember a Steelers defense that's been bad. It's hard to imagine a Steelers defense been bad. But this Steelers offense, the fact that he got this Steelers offense to 10 wins is a fucking miracle. Like, honestly, it's an absolute miracle.
Yes.
That's the concern going. Like, what's going to change next year? That's my, as a Steelers, what do you think changes next year?
So what I'm hoping is, because like next year, people aren't talking about it. Next year's the last year of Mike Tomlin's contract. So like that's it. I feel like that's gonna, unless they work on some kind of extension like this offseason, like that's gonna be like, okay, Mike Tomlin, we'll give you 1 year, do something, like get us to like 12 plus wins, give us a good playoff run. If he does that, I think he gets extended again. So what I want to happen is, Mike Tomlin, and this is a thing that Mike Tomlin does consistently, and I hope he doesn't do it this time. He has a tendency to promote from in-house, which I don't like in this case, because like look, Faulkner and Sullivan have done okay in the limited sample size they've had from them, but they've not been great as offensive coordinators. I want us to go out and get an offensive coordinator. I don't want to hire from within. I want us to go get somebody.
That's fair.
That's the main thing.
I agree there. Like, if it's a big year for the Steelers next year, it's a huge year for the Steelers next year. Anyway, let's get to this very important game.
Yeah, I do wish we had the video of the Gardner Minshew ESPN graphic.
Oh yeah,
that was incredible. But this was a game where it was win and in. I was being a true American, rooting for a tie, because a tie would have put the Steelers in the playoffs. And it nearly happened. A couple of times. But in the second that Keami Fairbairn missed the extra point, I'm just like, okay, somebody's winning this game. I don't know who, but somebody's winning this game. And the Colts had a chance. The Colts were driving down the field. Minshew magic was in full force. but there was a pass that went to who was it? It was Goodwin.
It was the fourth string running back. I
Yeah,
think
okay, that's the thing. Like you have Jonathan Taylor on your team, and you need a crucial 4th and 1. You take him out of the game?
Yeah.
Like I didn't get that at all. That was
Why the hell are you taking him out of the game?
Yeah, that was weird. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I could possibly think of was trying to throw everyone, like trying to goad the Texans into using a timeout or something. But I don't know at that point, like why you do that. Yeah,
it almost worked because there was a bubble screen or a swing pass to Goodwin.
well, if he catches it, it's a touchdown.
Well, no, there's a defender right there. If you catch it, it's at least a first down.
No,
But
I thought there was a lane. Like the defender had overran him. That was I thought.
I'd have to watch. I'd have to watch it again. But point is, if you catch that ball, chances are you're going to that team's going to drive into the end zone.
Yeah.
But one, it was not a greatly thrown ball. The ball was not great, but it hit him. It was good enough to hit him right in the hands, and he fucking drops it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's one of those.
You have to make that catch.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you weren't given the best, but dude, you got to catch it. Like you've got to catch that ball. You can't not catch that ball. And unfortunately, he's going to be thinking about it all off season. Like that's just one that it's going to eat.
I felt and like. Well, first of all, it cut right to some female Colts fans where like they thought he caught it. There's like, yeah, they see their hearts break instantly, which that was awesome. But secondly, I think I saw an interview with him a quote from afterwards like, "I gotta talk to my parents. I'm the only people that love me right now." I'm like, oh, I feel so bad for that dude, but at the same time, like, man, you gotta catch that.
I know, but you know what? It sucks though. Like. What really sucks about it is no matter what happened in this game, the loser had to walk away from this season going, we've had a fucking awesome season.
Right.
We
both
it sucked in that moment, but what Shane Steichen has done with this Colts team is ridiculous. Given what they've gone through this year, given who they've lost in the positions they start, given Jonathan Taylor wasn't on the team for a fucking month. Like he just wasn't on the team for a month. They lost their starting quarterback 3 times in the first 3 games. He was injured, out for the season. That was, they lost and he still managed to rally them to they're a drop catch away from the playoffs. They're a drop catch away from a home playoff game, from winning their division. It's honestly, it's a great story this year for them, and I hope the Colts take that away. Really.
Now for this game, that this like the playoff spot, but there was another game that decided this division that happened this Sunday.
So the Colts have at this point are settled in at the number 15 pick, but then we all waited with bated breath and watched Trevor Lawrence let us all down.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Sorry, you're on the wrong call for that. You got 2 people here.
You were getting in regardless of the outcome of this game with what happened.
With what happened, yes, but I had less stress during my game because of this result. Okay, so
let's back up.
Trevor Lawrence, you are not stonks of the decade for allowing Pittsburgh to make the playoffs. So
let's back up real quick. Let's back up to 2 seasons ago. We had Indianapolis travel into Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
All they had to do was beat the worst team in football, and they were going to be in the playoffs. Granted, came with a caveat that Jacksonville, the death sentence for Indianapolis. So the usual thing happened, and the Colts were knocked out of the postseason. The Jaguars were in the same position. They basically control the AFC South all season. All they had to do was go in and beat a 4-win Titans team, and they would have solidified and they would have solidified a spot in the playoff. They would have solidified the AFC South crown. What happened was an absolute collapse.
Trevor Lawrence was very bad.
Defense was terrible.
Defense was even worse.
And that's the big takeaway. Like, look, I'm all for shitting on Trevor Lawrence. I think he was crowned way too early, and he's let me down all fucking year. But made me look like a complete moron. But like, Trevor Lawrence was bad, and since the injury in the Bengals game, he has been awful. Like, genuinely, like, if he was that bad in his entire career, he's Zach Wilson bad. But he has been injured. I'm not giving him a pass. I'm just giving the caveat he has been injured. The defense has been horrific for this Jags team.
Yes.
I couldn't. That's the thing that I wasn't expecting with this Jags team. How bad this defense would have gotten.
They cleaned house. Like the Black Monday, they cleaned house on the defensive coaching staff.
Oh God, yes.
They had to. They absolutely had to. If you lose that game, you're lucky. Doug Peterson right now is lucky he has a job.
Yep. That was bad.
I mean, last year Frank Reich lost like last time. Frank Reich didn't. The quarterback did. Carson Wentz did.
Carson Wentz got shipped out of town.
Yeah, Carson Wentz, and because that's who they blamed. They all blamed him. This one, and here, Doug, you are very lucky to have kept your job for this game because
he fired half the offensive staff got let go today too. Like their front office, their coaching staff is changing.
This game, however, did contain another one of my stonks players of the week, King Henry.
Yeah,
what a fucking ride.
Well, what a way to say goodbye to the Titans.
Yeah, because like you hear like the way he was talking after the game, like he addressed the crowd, his speech after the game, addressed like everybody who ever worked with him as a Titan staff member. Like you can tell, like, oh, like they're not bringing you back.
No, he knows he's still.
Which sucks because like he's still good. Like he is still like one of the best running backs in football.
Some team is going to pick him up for nothing, and oh boy, like he's one of the hottest off-season free agencies. Like one of the hottest free agent pickups in the off-season right now.
Yeah, whatever team gets Derrick Henry, you got to go to one.
Get him a ring.
Get him a ring. Go ring hunting, King Henry.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say about the Jags that I think is huge. This was their year. Like now, like it's this was the year. If they wanted to go on a run, it was this year. They have a rough schedule next year. They have a real they played both Souths. Now we weren't expecting Colts and Texans to do what they had done, but remember they beat the Colts both times and the Texans once. So they got out of the 4 possible wins, they got 3 of them. It's everything else that they failed at this season, and that's they were meant to get 4 easy wins out of the South. They didn't. They were meant to get 6 easy wins out of their own division. They got 3 of them. Like there is someone else to blame for the Jags' failures this season, Jacob, that we have not addressed. It is the curse of the terrible towel. Not you, Jacob. The curse of the terrible towel. They disrespected the towel, and that never ends. That never ends well for anything that does that. That's true.
And put them into the 17th draft position, and Tennessee will draft 7th. But of note, Tennessee did fire Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, that was shocking. I thought we were going to save all the firings for after. That's fine. We'll talk about it now. That was shocking to me, and I don't know if this is a thing where like they were tired of Vrabel or they let him go, but I think we can all agree. Vrabel is still one of the best coaches in the NFL right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, if Harbaugh decides not to go to the NFL, Vrabel's the number 1 coaching candidate right now. Absolutely. Like if Harbaugh is number 1, if he decides to come to the NFL, if he decides to stay with Michigan, then Vrabel is the number 1 candidate right now. So when I was saying about the Saints, how the Saints hadn't acknowledged you need to rebuild, today, the stories we'd heard, I have a feeling the Titans have acknowledged it. We need to rebuild, and Vrabel wasn't prepared to do it. Vrabel was like, "No, let's go out. Let's go spend some money, get ourselves some free agent. Let's re-sign Henry. Let's go out and get Russell Wilson or something." And the Texans have gone. The Titans have just gone. We're going to rebuild. We're doing a full-blown rebuild, and I think that's what's caused the animosity between them at the moment. At least that's what my takeaway is, and to me, that would be okay. I can understand firing Vrabel at that point.
And we'll go back to Arthur Smith real quick. Arthur Smith, my other stocks of the week, the Falcons organization, for waiting a minute after midnight.
Oh, that was brilliant. Oh, absolute brilliant. Just like, could you imagine?
We ain't got the patience to wait.
I would die laughing if he hadn't been told. Like if
that's they found out
at 12:01 they put the press release and then called him. Like it was just like that's how he found out. That would just be
and that's what he deserves. I know. They got to fire him in the Arthur Smith way. Have the copy boy fire him. He wouldn't expect that.
All right, and the final game of the week.
Yeah, so because of the Jaguars losing the Titans, both the Steelers and the Bills did officially clinch the playoffs. And the question was, where were the teams going to finish?
Yeah.
Again, Bills win this game, they're the 2 seed.
So if the Bills won, if the Dolphins won, we would have a rematch of this game this week. It was just going to be a straight up rematch. Dolphins would host and Bills would be going back to Miami. They'd basically stay in Miami for a week. If it was a tie, then Bills would actually have played. Bills would have played the Chiefs, and Steelers would have played the Dolphins. And then if what happened, we saw what happened. Bills won, and we're the number 2 seed, and we host the Steelers.
The Dolphins are a fucking conundrum. Like, you had this division, you had a 3-game lead in this division all year, and you pissed it away.
Can I just say I called this a month ago?
Yeah, you did. They can't play against good teams. Like straight.
They can't, and it solidifies also maybe the Cowboys aren't a good team. Like, because it's the one team that they beat, but They can't look. This game probably just cost Tua his contract. I don't know what they're gonna do with Tua. I really don't. And the one who's getting away with a lot, who no one's talking about, Tyreek Hill was bad. He's been bad when they play really good teams. Like, he's not good. He puts his stat padding against the bad teams. But then when he plays a real team, like with the stats he had, he should have gotten to 2,000, but he can't against the good teams. When they play good teams, he just can't. He doesn't get 100 yards, and so they don't get to 2,000. He's not going to get to 2,000. It's just the same thing happened again last week.
I will say that I still think Tua is a good quarterback, but like there are some times where it makes decisions like, what the fuck are you thinking? The game is on the line. And what do? You throw it to Chase Claypool in double coverage.
Just
also the curse of Claypool is real. So Dolphins RIP.
I do. Okay, so I actually want to talk about this game a little bit because I think you got the full Josh Allen experience in this game.
Yes,
it was just mind-numbing watching it because the first interception, I screamed. I was like, you fucking idiot. What did you do that for? The second one was somehow worse. I just like the second one drove me nuts.
The second one in the end zone was just like, what the fuck are you
The second
doing?
one where it's 4th and 2 and he lobs it into the end zone when the guy is right open,
He's
right there. Like that drove me. I was so angry. The fumble was just a really good defensive play. That's not on Josh. I'm not going to kill him for that one. The one at the end, I murdered Trevor Lawrence for doing this a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to do the same thing for Josh. Josh, you can't do that. At the end of the half, you got to throw it into the end zone. He threw it 5 yards short. You've got to throw that ball into the end zone.
Well, especially given who they're playing next week, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, like you had to throw that ball into the end zone. But then, my God, that 3rd and 13 run was everything. I was just like, I don't care. Josh, I love you. That 3rd and 13 run
throw all the
was
picks you
so
want, Josh.
It was so bad. It was just like, that's my quarterback. I don't care. I love you so much. Like it was. There's no other player that can do that. Like no one else can do that. That it's a quarterback. He is so unique in that. And I don't know how we survive being Bills fans watching.
I
Josh
mean,
Allen
look,
play.
I went through the Kenny Pickett experience several weeks where it's like, yay, the game's starting. Oh my God, I'm gonna kill myself. Holy crap, we won.
All right, well, let's move on.
Yeah, wild card weekend. Oh, sorry, we forgot to talk about one. Did we talk about Ron Rivera getting fired?
We did not mention that. No. Yeah,
Ron Rivera was the other victim of Black Monday. Move we all saw coming a mile away. Dude was not a good fit with Washington. Dude was good in Carolina for a couple of years, but not a good fit with Washington.
Sorry, the shock with Rivera wasn't Rivera being fired. It was them keeping the GM. I think that's a surprise. That's a big surprise. A sneaky Ben Johnson to Washington. One to keep an eye. One to keep because it's either the general manager, someone who's involved in Washington. His brother is the GM of the Lions. And it's one of those. This feels like it could happen.
All right, so we're gonna move into the first game, which is
Texans versus Browns, the Matt Thomas Bowl.
Oh man, I'm hoping this is just a good game. That's all I'm really hoping for this one. It's kind of whoever loses doesn't really lose game. Like the Browns have gone on this amazing run that never should have been here, given the amount of injuries they've had. They're gonna have a Coach of the Year candidate. Like if they lose, oh cool, whatever. We shouldn't have been here with all the injuries we've had. The Texans also are like 3 years ahead of schedule, minimum. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those. Whoever wins this is just going to get a massive boost. I think it's the Browns. I think the Browns pull off the upset.
I also have the Browns winning this game. I think defensively is the reason I say this. I think both teams offensively are going to be prone to turning the ball over, but I think the Browns are going to be able to do more on defense.
You know what? I'm going to say right now, I think the Flacco magic runs out. I think that the Texans win.
See, but here's my thing with the Flacco magic. I don't think it's I think it eventually will run out, but with Flacco, he's bringing in a lot of playoff experience. The moment's not going to get too big for him. I think it might get a bit big for CJ.
All right, and I'll pass our songs to Jacob.
Oh God. All right, Myles Garrett.
Stonks. I like him big time in this game. All right, so moving on.
Chiefs just life on Peacock. That's right.
This one's tough because neither one of these teams is playing that well right now. And
no.
I am ever so slightly leaning towards the Chiefs just because of the way that the Dolphins have played against decent teams all season. But the Chiefs offense has not done anything that super impresses me. And it's a good, you got the Dolphins high flying offense against the Chiefs really decent defense. And then you got the Chiefs who really can't do anything outside of Travis Kelce and Pacheco against a fairly mediocre Dolphins defense.
See, I'm actually leaning towards the Dolphins because I think their offense, mark this day, is better than the Chiefs. Like I think that when their offense is humming, like they're easily have more firepower than the Chiefs. So I'm actually leaning Dolphins.
I think I'm going to be on my own little island. I think it's a blowout. I think the Chiefs blow the Dolphins out. And the number one story coming on Monday is going to be, oh shit, are the Chiefs alive? Like, oh shit, did the Chiefs just wake up? And because the Dolphins defense is trashed. It's dead. And I really do think the Chiefs offense against that bad of a defense is going to play well. We saw it we've seen it so far this year. When they play bad defenses, they do pretty well. The only exception to that, ironically, is the Eagles game somehow. And then I think when Tua goes up against really good defenses, and the Chiefs just don't just have a really good defense. They have a top 5 defense. They have
pressure on Tua,
one of the best in football. They're going to put so much pressure. Tyreek looked bad in Miami. He was bad because you couldn't get the ball to him. Tua couldn't play well, and that's what's going to happen without Waddle. Look, we don't know if Waddle's going to be back. I don't think he will. I think Waddle's out still. They're obviously Chubb's still injured. Like Chubb's gone for the season. They're going to have a lot of players who are injured. So, I really just think Chiefs win this, and they win it 31-17. Like, this is a ass kicking.
All right.
So Isaiah Pacheco.
I love him in this game. I think he's going to have a huge game.
Moving on to Sunday. Yeah, the very first left side, strong side playoff game.
Yep, the game where friendships are destroyed. Although I think there's only although I think you're prepared to lose this game, and I'm at the point where if we lose this game, fuck it, Sean McDermott's getting fired, so I'm fine either way.
Look, I will say though, the Steelers' defensive scheme fits really well to Josh Allen. Why? Because they lead the league in takeaways, and Josh Allen very prone to giving the ball up.
This game has low score written all over it because of what
everyone the line for this is ridiculous. It's like 10 points. Take the under. Take the Steelers take the Steelers minus 10 or plus 10 or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Honestly, the Steelers have to go into hostile territory without their best player, TJ Watt, officially been ruled out with an MCL sprain. So he will not be playing this game. And if you know the Steelers without TJ Watt, we're not good. We are not good without him. He's a difference maker. Am I going to pick the Steelers to play this game, to win this game? Absolutely, with 100% no confidence.
Yeah, I'm really worried about how Josh is going to play in this game. I'm also really worried about how he gets the ball to Diggs. The injury that I'm really concerned about, and they haven't announced it yet, but I'm hoping he's still questionable, is Davis. If Davis is injured, I'm concerned. I'm going to get real worried because we don't have another threat at all. So yeah, that's where it goes. The only thing I can pray and hope for is James Cook is able to run because you guys don't have TJ Watt. That's my only hope.
Yeah, we got Landon Roberts is one of the best run stopping linebackers. So that's
I know.
Again, this is actually like a more even keeled match than people think. But
I agree.
Still,
I'm so terrible.
We are going on the road in a playoff game without our best players. So am I confident? Absolutely not. Am I going to pick my team? Hell yes. But I'm not looking forward to this.
And I can't drink because I got to drive that night.
So anyway. All right. So
I'm not allowed to do stonks for this one. So yeah.
Well, yeah, no, all of the other stonks and everybody else not stonks. So,
I'm not saying it. You have to say it.
I just said it. All the Bills not stonks and Steelers stunts, even without TJ Watts. Cowboys versus Packers.
All right. This is a huge and a sneaky game. This is a real sneaky game. Because one, you're gonna have a Cowboys team that is, I don't think nervous, but is feeling confident and is like, nope, we've got this one. And then the one thing Cowboys have going for them is they don't know who they're playing. So they're not going to be looking ahead to next week. Like, because they're the first one, they're not looking at going, all right, we've got the Lions next week, and they'll look past the Packers. So that's the one thing they've got going for them. One big thing they've got going for them. The other thing I think the Packers have got is they're going to play like they don't care. They're just going to throw the ball. Honestly, there's going to be some fourth downs in their own 30 territory. They're like, fuck it, let's do it. It's the playoffs. Who cares? Like, that's where they're going to be. That's going to be their mentality. And this is just going to be all about, it's going to be about getting experience for Jordan Love and this young team. Like, they're the youngest team in the playoffs. It's going to be about that. I think Cowboys win this. The Packers defense is horrific and very bad. So I think Dak is going to have a field day against it. It's going to depend on whether or not Jordan Love is able to score on that Cowboys defense.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is probably who I would have pegged as Stonks player of the week. He is going to feast on this Packers secondary. The way he's been playing the past month against this team, CeeDee Lamb is going to be lethal in this game. Even if they double him, I don't see them stopping him at this point. I think I agree a lot with what Jacob's saying in terms of the Packers. They really don't have much to lose. Again, this is a team that did kind of overachieve. We had a lot of question marks about them going into the season. They proved themselves. Very young team that still there's a lot of gaps in the team. They don't have anything to lose in this game. The Cowboys do, but the Cowboys, there's too much going on in this Cowboys team for Green Bay to win this game. So I got the Cowboys winning it by in the neighborhood of 10.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a weird feeling about this one. I have this weird feeling the Packers are going to win this. I'm still picking the Cowboys, but if the Packers win, I'm not gonna be shocked. Just because
I kind of agree.
I know the Cowboys are really good at home. The Packers have won the last 9 of the last 10 times the Packers have played in the stadium. They've won this. They've won. But granted, that was Aaron Rodgers, not Jordan Love. But
Dak's most famous playoff game where he lost, who was it against? It was this team. The year that the Packers had the year that the Packers went on the miracle run, who did they have to beat? This team. I get it. This is honestly, I reckon if the thing that the Cowboys would have been watching after their game or after their game finished, they would have been watching that Rams 49ers game and would have been cursing, right? Absolutely cursing the Packers, right? The 49ers right now. They did not want to play this Packers team at all.
No, they don't.
Now, to be fair, I don't know if they wanted to be playing the Rams either, but that's just one of those. Oh God, this is a tough matchup. This is not an easy game for the Cowboys.
Yeah. So what you got for this one?
So this one, let's go your boy, Micah Parsons.
Not Stonks.
Ooh.
Nope.
He's interesting on this one, but I think he gets at least one sack, which is enough to put him in stonks.
I don't even think he gets that. Overrated. He's the poor man's TJ Watt.
So this is what I think is going to be the game of the week.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit.
I had to explain to my dad the storylines going into the playoffs, like all the history and stuff, and I just called this is the emotional one. This is the one this is the thing that's going to get people really emotional. Everyone's invested. This is going to be the game of the week.
Now, what I'm curious about, what's Matt Stafford's reception when he gets to Detroit? Does he get, did he cheer, or does he get the Russell Wilson treatment from last year?
I think he gets cheered. I think he left on good terms. The way people reacted to him playing in the Super Bowl and playing that, Lions fans love Stafford. I think he gets cheered. I think he is cheered until the first snap of the ball, and then he's starting, and then the hatred will come. But no, and it will be the no. We are now rooting for our team, but in that moment, there will be the hugs, high fives, everyone supporting around Matt. That I wouldn't be surprised if there is a cheer when he walks out. But once the game starts, that's when the animosity.
So also, I want to put a prop bet. I have a feeling Megatron will be at the game.
Probably,
I could see that. Yeah,
I can see it. This is because he hasn't played at Ford yet, has he?
Yet.
No. So this will be the homecoming. It will be the prodigal son returns. And I think deep down, if you ask Lions fans, if anyone was going to beat you at your home game, they would be happy it was Matt. I think that's real. I think if anyone was going to do it, they'd rather it was Matt.
My big question for the Lions, we've seen the past couple of weeks that Dan Campbell has been just throwing every conventional idea out the window. What the hell is he going to do in this game?
Oh, my God. I'm terrified to see what Dan Campbell's playing for the playoffs.
I swear to God, if he goes on a 4th and 10 in their own 20, I'm just going to be like, Dan, someone grab the playbook from him. He can't call plays anymore.
Somebody stop this man. Yeah. I'm leaning ever so slightly towards the Lions. I think they're playing with a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder, whereas Rams like to play more with house money, and also I feel like they have more prominent cracks in their armor than Detroit does at this point, which is weird to say, but yeah, I'm leaning Detroit.
I'm going Rams. The Laporta injury I think is huge. And assuming he doesn't play, I think it's huge. Puka and Kupp and Stafford and Aaron Donald. He's going to get Donald's going to get a lot of pressure put on. He's going to put a lot of pressure on Goff. I just think that's where we're heading, and I think Rams pull it off, and we get one of the most heartbreaking wins of the year.
This is a one-score game. I think this is going to come down to the very last play. Whichever team has the ball last they're going to be going for the win, whether they get it or not. This is going to go the full 60 minutes, if not overtime. This game has the writing on this game looks like it's going to be an emotional power game. Probably a lot of mistakes in the first quarter. I'm going to call is going to be super sloppy, and then the teams are going to kind of get their footing because there's going to be so much emotion going into it. I'm going to take the Lions, but the Rams winning is not an upset.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go Jared Goff. How does he play against this Rams defense?
I think because the line of pretty good O-line and outside of Donald, the pass rush for Los Angeles isn't like amazing. Even with their Dallas, not amazing. So I'm gonna say Stunks. I think it's a good game.
I'm gonna say Stunks primarily because of number 14, Amon-Ra St. Brown he's gonna have a big game, so it's gonna carry Goff to a big game. So I'll say Stunks.
And then I'm going to give you a second one because it's this game. How does the prodigal son play? How does he play in his first game back at Ford Field? Because that's another impact of all of this. He's going to be emotional. There's like we saw it with Brady when Brady returned to Gillette. He played
terrible.
He was awful because there is a lot, and this was post Super Bowl. It wasn't he's 3 games into the season with a new team. It was post Super Bowl Brady. How's Stafford going to be?
I think the difference is he's not playing anybody who was there when he was still in Detroit. Where Belichick, Brady was going up against his old coach. Matt Stafford's not doing that. So I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to play well. I'll give him the Stunks too. I don't. If they lose, it's not going to be off the back of Matt. It's not going to be because of Matt Stafford.
I agree. Okay. And the final game.
Bucks,
as I said,
okay, I will say this. I trust the Steelers more than I trust the Eagles right now. And I don't trust the Steelers at all to do anything.
I said this, man. The NFL hates ESPN.
Yeah.
The NFL must fucking hate ESPN. How is this? In all seriousness, how is the 1 o'clock? How is the 1 o'clock on Sunday game not this? I'm shocked by that.
It should have been.
This is gonna be a terrible game. This is gonna be awful. Just an awful game. I think Eagles pull it off, but I got no confidence in that.
I'm going with the Bucks on this one. Just the way things have been falling lately, and this is the ugliest game of the week. I can't see this being at all a good football game. I think that Baker will be kind of on a leash, and that will be his benefit.
He's absolutely his ribs are destroyed at the moment.
It's gonna be a bad game. I'm taking the Bucks at home. I know it's kind of an upset, but I think the Eagles are toast.
I'm saying we don't know the severity of the injuries to Hurts or Brown or Smith. So I'm still saying Eagles right now, but yeah, this feels ugly.
That's gonna be a rough game to watch.
Yeah, it is.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be really rough. But yeah. God, who's even going to be playing?
We don't even know who's on the team.
Let's say Evans because I think he's playing.
Oh, Stunks.
See, he's been so hot and cold recently. Like he's either blowing up or does nothing.
Well, it depends. Like if Slay is on it most of the time, not Stunks. If it's any other player on the Eagles, then Stunks.
Either Godwin or Evans will have a good game. I don't see them both having a good game. It's just a matter of which one does it.
Which one gets Slay more?
I actually lean Godwin has the better game, so I'll say not Stunks for Evans.
And that's going to do it for the show here today. Thank you again for joining us through another regular season of NFL action. Jake, where can we find you?
You guys can find me pretty much everywhere at Jacob London on Twitter, everywhere.
Mike, where can we find you?
You can find me all the socials, and you can find me every Wednesday night on What the Show podcast, on What the Show channel on YouTube, and always here on Tuesday nights.
My Twitter is going to _91. And thank you for watching. We will see you next week for the playoffs.
Ooh, and I got to do this.